What's up, guys, and welcome to another discussion video. I've been doing these a lot lately, and I've been enjoying them. I hope you have too. Today we're going to be talking about the recent ban of Tyrantrum and Steelix from RU. They are both in BL2 now, if I'm not mistaken.
No more dinos, yes.
Yeah, and I have my buddy EonX with me. He's definitely a solid RU battler and builder, and I figured, why not get somebody on here that actually knows what they're talking about to talk about this. Like, I can give my opinion.
Come on.
I mean, yeah, but
change yourself.
I'm like the lazy person who knows what they're talking about. Like, I don't. It's easier when I have somebody to throw things off of. But
Alright, fair enough. Fair enough.
So first impressions, like, what do you think about this ban?
I think Tier just benefits really, really well from it. Tyrantrum obviously was suspected in the past, actually. And in the closest vote in history, I believe, of Smogon was not banned by a single vote. And to this day, I don't know why. But hey, we righted the wrong, so we're good. Basically, it commonly ran Choice Scarf and Choice Bands sets. Choice Scarf just demolished almost every offensive team. Like, offensive teams had to use Mawile.
Yeah,
just to beat that thing.
It was such a great offensive check to like Pokemon like Fletchinder too. Like one of the few like super offensive checks in the tier that could actually take on things like Fletchinder as well. So that was really big for Tyrantrum. And just spamming head smash with the rock head ability. But you can go on. Sorry.
Yeah, literally, if the opponent didn't have like Mega Steelix and you were Choice Band Tyrantrum, you literally click head smash and almost always picks up a kill.
Yeah.
Like, it was just that ridiculously powerful. Like, even a little Mola, if you went max physically defensive, which is not a good set in RU, but just to kind of showcase it, just like did not live. It was too KO'd.
Yeah, easily. And then there was also the fact that you had to play around, like, is it Choice Scarf? Do I switch out? Is it Dragon Dance? Is it Choice Bandit? Like, what do I do? Like, you don't know what set Tyrantrum was running. All of them were threatening in its own right.
Even Rock Polish was a lesser known set, but still really good. And Dragon Dance was actually considered not to be very good, but it was still good.
Yeah, definitely.
If that makes any sense, like outclassed by some other sets, but still good.
Yeah, definitely. I think Choice Scarf and Choice Band was what pushed it over the edge. Like, Choice Scarf was so easy to spam. Like, it might not look like it had the best speed because, like, what is it, 265 max with Jolly?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I can check.
Yeah, it's 265 max, but that's like enough speed in the tier to outspeed like some of the prominent.
That was enough for Aerodactyl, Jolteon.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, the only non-Scarf Pokemon I was outsped by was Excelgor, and like, you're switching that into Tyrantrum.
Yeah, sure. Never. Yeah, exactly.
The other Pokemon, excuse me.
It's alright.
The other Pokemon was Mega Steelix. And this was a much closer vote. Tyrantrum, by the way, was 83% ban. And Mega Steelix was, I think, 62% or 61% ban. But it was just so easy to slap on a team. Like, it wasn't one of those Pokemon that, like, oh my gosh, this could just sweep straight through my team or wall my entire team. But it could do a blend of both so well that it was just easy. Oh, hey, I don't have a Stealth Rocker. I'm throwing Mega Steelix on.
Yeah, there was literally no reason not to use this.
I'm throwing Mega Steelix on.
Exactly, and it's so bulky too. There was literally no reason not to use Mega Steelix. It's such a great Stealth Rocker. The fact that it's ground type, so it blocks Volt Switch. Even Rotom would have to Will-O-Wisp or Hex it to do some damage. Like, this thing checks so much in the tiers. Like, just what he mentioned, Tyrantrum. Tyrantrum made Mega Steelix just as good, and RU had just a bunch of things that Steelix was just so good versus. In general,
one of the biggest problems that RU had with Mega Steelix is the fact that offense, we don't have a good water type we don't have a good offensive water type in RU. Like, probably the best offensive water type is like offensive Trick Room Slowking, and that's not taking 2 Earthquakes.
Yeah.
And like, the other offensive water types are like Samurott, Omastar, Kabutops. You see the problem with the latter two; they're weak to Earthquake, and Samurott, it's got okay physical bulk, but like, it can switch in once, and that's literally it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not like you keep being in your Steelix. Actually, you probably could have because Steelix was bulky enough to take any hit. Like,
No, it's Samurai was special. You went down, but
well, yeah.
Like me personally, I would never risk it against like a Samurai that just came in directly on me. It's like that just threw off a light bulb in my head. Like, okay, this is special. I'm getting the heck out of here.
Yeah, definitely. But like again, like what are you saying? Like Steelix was just a pain to switch into. What was the most common set? Heavy Slam, Earthquake, Toxic, Stealth Rock, or Roar, Dragon Tail?
It was Stealth Rock, Heavy Slam, Earthquake. Most use Toxic, although there were some variants, especially on Spike Stack, that would use Roar. And Roar was also nice to just phase through the opposing team because there were so few things that could just straight KO Mega Steelix.
Yeah.
So, like, Toxic was better overall just because it pressured Alomomola, Tangrowth, Slowking.
Yeah, pretty much the fat mons that would come in and could eat up a hit and take you.
But, I mean, there definitely were teams that could utilize Roar, even Stone Edge, even. Like, if your team was, like, really weak to Fletch in there and you just needed to get it out immediately, then you could throw Stone Edge on Mega Steelix and generally be okay.
Yeah, and even then, Fletchender doesn't beat you if you Toxic it. Unless it was like Taunt Fletchender, like it doesn't beat you anyway. Heavy Slam probably wears you down to the point where you have to roost, and eventually would Earthquake, even if it's burnt. So like, Steelix was one of those mons that just fit on every team. Like, there was no reason not to use this Steelix, unless you were using like Mega Camerupt or anything like that. Like, you definitely were using Steelix on your team.
Yeah, like, to me, the only reasons to not use Mega Steelix were if, like, say, like you said, Mega Camerupt, which was definitely a very good Mega. Mega Glalie, another really good offensive Mega.
Which Steelix checked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or Diancie as your Stealth Rocker because maybe you're really weak to fire Pokemon and you needed to get a reliable check for them, which Diancie did a very good job of. It still does. But really, those were the only reasons you wouldn't want to use Mega Steelix. Speaking of
Diancie, actually, because we already stated reasons why Mega Steelix was like just great for the tier. It wasn't like, oh my god, this thing is overpowering. It was just really centralizing for the tier. Like, speaking of like Diancie is a lot better now that Mega Steelix is gone. Diancie was a great bird check, and Steelix definitely pressured it. So.
Absolutely. Definitely defensive Diancie is better. Another Pokemon that I think benefits absolutely the most.
Scavalier?
Actually, well, that's another one that benefits, but the one I was thinking of is Magneton, actually. And just Volt Turn as a playstyle.
Yeah.
Because it was not very viable with Mega Steelix around because, like, good luck shipping it down with U-Turn and it's immune to Volt Switch.
Exactly. Even though Magneton runs like analytic, like you would have to be running HP Water to even do a bit of damage, or ground for Camerupt as well as Magneton as well as the thing.
Actually, with Magneton, one of the things that it did in the Mega Steelix metagame was Magnet Pull, Magnet Rise.
Yeah, Magnet Rise. Yeah. I used that in SPL, or I was debating using it. I don't think I actually ended up using it.
Yeah, it was a really good way to get rid of Mega Steelix, and just the fact that it ran a set like that just goes to show how important
centralizing.
It was.
Yeah.
But now, like, Magneton is free to going back to running like Specs Analytics sets, which, like,
with HP Grass, pretty much.
Yeah, basically it's Volt Switch, Flash Cannon, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Grass, and if you use Modest, which is pretty easy to use because it still outspeeds pretty much every slower attacker in the tier and most defensive Pokemon. Your defensive switching literally ceases to exist. Because like Flash Cannon is 2-hit KOing Mega Camerupt on the Switch.
Yeah. With the analytics boost, definitely. Yeah.
And obviously it has Flash Cannon destroy Diancie, Thunderbolt to beat Alomomola, Slowking, and even like if you don't have a ground type or electric immunity, it's just free to Volt Switch all over you and deal ridiculous amounts of damage.
I could see because Mega Steelix is gone, I could see Absol going back to running Iron Tail over Superpower, seeing as how that was one of the main mons that could take, knockoff from Absol. And now Iron Tail allows to hit Pokemon like Togetic, Diancie, obviously, and like if on an SD set, not like just like 4 attacks. Like I would use when Steelix was around, I would use 4 attacks with Superpower. But now I feel like I can use SD more and use Iron Tail to hit Togetic, to hit Aromatisse, to hit Diancie, and get away with it too.
Even for that 4 attack set, you could use Iron Tail over like say Pursuit or
Yeah,
something still,
yeah.
and that becomes a much better wall breaker. But Volturn as an entire playstyle gets better, obviously. Offense in general gets better, simply because you would have to throw 2 or 3 bodies at
Yeah,
Steelix just
yeah.
to take it out, which offense clearly doesn't want to have to do.
Yeah, offense isn't a play style where you're switching into anything. You gotta just hit and go. And Steelix was one of those mons that, like you said, it took Pokemon to break down. Offense had like an offensive team. Let's say Seismitoad as their offensive stealth rocker. Seismitoad, and especially if it's offense, it's usually almost 2-hit KO'd, if not 2-hit KO'd by Steelix's Earthquake. Unless it's like unless it's running like really bulky spread. Like if it's offensive, it's 2-hit KO'd easily.
Yeah. Also, Seismitoad had to be defensive for Tyrantrum as well. Because
Yeah, exactly.
It could get pushed through with Head Smash really easily. Speaking of like bulky ground types, while we're kind of on that subject with Seismitoad, Rhyperior. Rhyperior loves Mega Steelix Gone simply because that was his main competition. It's like
A stealth,
as your bulky stealth rock setter plus electric resist or check. And it also can easily run choice band sets to sort of replace Tyrantrum as like your choice band rock type.
Yeah.
That's pretty slow but can 2-hit KO the entire tier. Aerodactyl, another rock type that definitely benefits from both being gone. Obviously had a hard time with Mega Steelix, and Scarf Tyrantrum kind of outclassed it as a fast rock type.
Yeah.
So Aerodactyl is another one you can definitely see. I can definitely see being a lot more viable. Not that it was terrible per se, it was just kind of outclassed at what it did. Obviously, Druddigan with offensive sets finally becoming a thing again, possibly, with Tyrantrum not being around.
Even Sneasel gets to like have its fun now. Like low kick wasn't doing much. Like Steelix was taking any hit, bro. Yeah. And as much as it pains me to say, even Ambipom, I don't even know why this thing is still RU.
No, Ambipom is still like destroyed by DNC, Rhyperior, even Registeel, who gets better now.
That isn't gonna stop it from being RU next.
I wish it would stop it from being RU, but I'm just resigned to the fact that we're gonna have that in RU for the entire generation. It's basically like Hitmonchan was for the entirety of XY. We finally got rid of that, at least. So I'll take solace in that, at least. But speaking of normal types that are very
Cincino.
Yeah, Cincino actually it's somewhat decent. I don't want to say good.
You can't deny that it's a threat though, because Steelix was like one of its main switch-ins on offense on every type of team, and now they're staying packing knockoff, tail slap, bullet seed, rock blast. Like it hits everything in the tier now.
Please do not ever use Rock Blast, because Rock Blast, you get
it
nothing.
literally, it's just
like Sigilyph, you're killing with knockoff. Houndoom is frail, so you're killing it with tail slap. Delphox is going down to knockoff. Fletchinder, why are you staying in? You're gonna get out prioritized.
So are you gonna use U-turn over it?
Yeah. Basically a Life Orb set, tail slap, bullet seed, knockoff, U-turn. I think is probably the best I can do. And when I say best, I mean like maybe going from D rank to C rank in viability. But like it's still one of those Pokemon that you're almost never going to want to use, but it's not like Typhlosion, Ambipom level anymore, I don't think. It's just one of those like, yeah, you probably shouldn't use it, but it is more annoying to switch into now for sure.
Definitely. I could also see because Steelix and Tyrantrum are gone, I could see a decline in not necessarily decline, because there's obviously still Glalie, Deancey, but Bronzong, I feel like Bronzong usage will be affected by this as well, because I ran Bronzong on my teams to check those mons specifically.
Right.
And I even ran Psywave on it because Psywave was either I do 0.5 or 1.5 times the damage, and that
it would usually do more than Earthquake to make
yeah,
Steelix.
exactly.
Absolutely.
So Bronzong could definitely go down in uses right here, outclassed by a more offensive steel type. I feel like you said, as Magneton or Scavalier is the one I'm thinking about.
Yeah,
specifically.
Escavalier is definitely another to look out for, especially on the physical side. I even think Choice Band wasn't that bad in the Mega Steelix metagame, but it's definitely a lot better now because it lost like its primary switch in.
I feel like SD is a lot better now. I don't know if you ever saw a Slurm set, but it's SD Protect,
Yeah,
Joran,
I've
Mega.
seen.
That's one of
I've seen.
my favorite sets to use, and especially right now, it breaks through everything right now. Like Steelix with a check, the earthquaking it, and then phasing it out and things like that. And I think that's something that could definitely go up because you don't necessarily need the Iron Head stab since you break through everything anyway. Like fairy types don't beat you regardless. So
Yeah, because it's like I guess the only fairy type that you would be a little bit well, actually, two of the fairy types could run Fire Punch and Fire
yeah,
Punch
Gramble,
respectively.
yeah,
Togetic.
yeah.
Nasty Plot, Baton Pass, Togetic will sometimes run Fire Blast to like surprise Steel types like Registeel.
I could see that going up in usage, by the way, because Steelix was one of the main phasers in the tier.
Absolutely, pretty much anything that did not like phasing, like your flying types, your bug types, Togetic obviously for Baton Pass.
Yeah,
Another, and while I'm on the subject of like flying types, Braviary, particularly substitute bulk up sets, they were good before. They're even better now because Registeel becomes like the main defensive steel type. You set up all over that because you make 101 HP subs. Choice sets for Braviary also get better simply because they can spam Brave Bird, Frustration, Return more easily. And obviously they can run U-turn to support Volt turn playstyles, which are definitely going to be better.
I agree completely. I actually, I'm not quite sure how I feel that these mons are going to fare in UU. I think Tyrantrum has a lot more viability in UU than it would be in, because obviously they're BO2 guys, so they're not able to be used in RU, but they're not UU by usage, but they can be used in UU and up, obviously. I mean, any Pokemon can be used in any tier. Well,
absolutely,
yeah, but like I don't think Steelix is gonna really find a good home in UU just because before it was outclassed as a Steel type rocker by Mega Aggron, and Mega Aggron pretty much does everything better. The only thing that Steelix really has over it is that ground typing. Mega Aggron obviously having filter and just the bulk. Like if I'm thinking of I want a mon that can check fairy types, I'm thinking Mega Aggron. It has Thunder Wave as well over that. Yeah, phasing Thunder Wave, Stealth Rock.
Like I play UU a little bit, and yeah, definitely Mega Aggron is like pretty much what Mega Steelix wants to be, is just better because of mainly the ability in pure steel typing. And not to mention water types are so much more common in UU than they are in RU.
Yep.
Another Pokemon that definitely I think will be suffering a fair bit is Mawile, because it was the Tyrantrum check for offensive teams. Like it obviously is still not bad, like not like horribly off.
Sheer Force has a lot more viability now, though that that these mons are gone, though. Specifically Mega Steelix. Like Sheer Force definitely has a Sheer Force boosted Iron Head or Player Up is gonna hurt something now. There aren't very many mons that can resist it. Even like Fire Fang or things like that, Sub Punch. Though not necessarily sets in themselves, but something I could see.
Right, yeah. And Mawile also like can SD pass as well.
Exactly.
And so I definitely see that as being a set that can be better, like to pass to something like Aerodactyl, because +2 Aerodactyl with that speed, you don't want to mess with that like at all.
Exactly. Agree completely.
So pretty much your fast physical attackers will like SD pass Mawile, and Mawile even has Intimidate to make it easier to come in on more stuff. So it's definitely better now that it doesn't just have to check Tyrantrum all the time. It can now focus a bit more on like passing boosts.
Exactly. And one other mon that I wanted to mention, which you probably wouldn't think or first will go better, but I feel like Blastoise. Blastoise is already a good Pokemon, great spinner, but I feel like with Mega Steelix gone, it's gonna appreciate being able to spin more because Steelix was the stealth rocker that always hurt Blastoise upon switching, always clicked Earthquake, did like 30-40% to Blastoise, and Blastoise not having reliable recovery outside of leftovers or a potential rest set with like Heal Bell Deanty or anything like that, or like Wish support. Like Blastoise is really gonna appreciate these two hard heavy hitters being gone for the spin.
Another reason I see it going up is it checks Aerodactyl, it destroys Rhyperior, it's
the Pokemon that come in place of these mons being gone. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like it loves Rhyperior being the main electric resist stealth rock setter now, because Skull just straight KOs that, whereas it would need 2 or maybe even 3
depending on so it's usually a 3 KO unless you got a burn on Mega Steelix.
Yeah, and it could be even worse if it was like fully especially defensive.
Yeah.
Because most common set was just an offensive tank. But I said on multiple occasions, like in the forums and the showdown room, that yeah, it has that one set, but it could do so much with that one set and be EV differently based on what its team needed it to do more.
Exactly.
The last Pokemon I want to touch, if you want to touch more, that's fine. But Manectric was definitely better than Jolteon because it could hit Mega Steelix and Oko it with Overheat, with Life Orb Overheat. And while it can still definitely hit grass types like Venusaur harder, it definitely took a pretty good hit. Like Jolteon is a whole lot better now, and at least on par with Manectric now, if not better.
I agree, especially with that speed. Obviously its ability it has going for it, but yeah, like Jolteon struggled with Steelix. It had to run like hidden power if it wanted to even hit it, even Shadow Ball to do like negligible damage to Steelix whenever it came out. So Jolteon definitely got better, and it can even go back to running HP Water or HP Grass because that deals with Camera Up, that deals with Rhyperior. More so HP Water, I'm thinking. So
yeah, I would actually still run Hidden Power Ice just to beat up on
Flygon. Yeah, but most Flygon can eat the hit though. Most Flygon are Oko. Not even Life Orb. Jolteon doesn't Oko Spadef Flygon.
Yeah, actually Spadef Flygon isn't super common now. Even the support sets usually run like attack investment and a lot of speed.
You don't think that with Steelix being gone and Mega Camera being being able to be used as a Mega?
I mean, it still runs HP. Like it still runs some HP investment, and it has Roost. I think it runs enough HP to, I believe, avoid the I can't remember the HP investment number off the top of my head. But basically, it typically runs max speed now, just to outspeed Houndoom, outspeed Sigilyph.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and HP.
And then still have like a decent amount of attack investment to, I believe, if you choose to run Dragon Claw where you turn to 2-hit KO Sigilyph. And then the rest is like an HP to obviously tank hits. So it's like not just exclusively defensive anymore these days. So yeah, I still think Empower Ice is like the one to use for like Manectric and Jolteon for sure.
Definitely viable. Definitely viable option. Yeah, I mean, I guess you'll have team support to deal with that anyway. So
yeah. Like it's easier to wear down like Rhyperior, Mega Camera, Seismitoad because they don't have reliable recovery, whereas Flygon does. So if you have a chance to Oko it, you kind of want to take it.
Yeah, I agree.
It can find ways to roost on different stuff.
Yeah, I agree completely. And Flygon obviously has that utility, but I honestly think that's it. Do you have anything else to say?
I'm just really looking forward to this new metagame. It has a lot of promise to it, a lot of diversity I think is possible now.
When Mega Steelix gone, definitely. I agree. And Tyrantrum too, opening up so many doors.
Yeah,
I agree completely.
Offense is viable again. I never like using the word just straight up unviable, but that's kind of what Hyper Offense was while Tyrantrum and Mega Steelix were in the tier. Like you could not deal with them reliably.
Yeah, you lost. Offense's way of dealing with Tyrantrum was its own Scarf Tyrantrum and winning the speed time. That was literally it. So
yeah. One last thing. Scarf Tyrantrum obviously gone. Metacham probably going to be the main Scarfer in the tier now.
Oh god, Metacham's crazy.
And that is still a threat to offense. But a way offense can counteract that is Yawn plus U-turn Uxie. Because it can take some hits from Metacham, hopefully enough to where you can wear it down and take it out. And I don't mean like just like full on defensive, I mean more of like a speedy variant with like 236 speed and like neutral on speed, so you outspeed, I believe that is up to Jolly Metacham. So if it's like a Life Orb variant or maybe knocked it off earlier,
you beat it easily, and it gives you that utility as well. You can get up Stealth Rock, Thunder Wave, all that stuff on Uxie, definitely.
Yeah, I actually like Yawn plus U-turn because it gives offensive teams so much momentum, and it allows it to be used on offense. Because usually you think defensive Pokemon like Uxie, why would I use this on offense? Well, it can actually pivot into attacks and take them and then build momentum, almost like Kabalion did back in XY. Obviously not as good, but still kind of that comparison and idea.
No, I definitely get you. No, I agree. That's something I actually want to try out. I'm actually glad that I managed to finish the road to top 10 in RU before these guys got banned.
You finished it. Actually, you finished
like
it
the day of.
You finished it hours before.
Yeah, I did. I finished it. I finished like an hour or two. Yeah, the suspect. Literally. Had I not finished it, I would have had started over. But
and I like how the first ladder went down, the second ladder went up in the middle of your sub hub with Envy.
Yeah, we were doing RU. Yeah, we were doing RU sub.
I thought about, like, I was watching most of those battles. I thought about saying something. I was like, no, they probably will figure it out.
Yeah.
But like I was like, yeah, that was like really bad timing for them.
Nah, but definitely a good discussion, I feel. Thank you so much, EonX, for joining me on this. Guys, feel free to post your thoughts down below on Tyrantrum and Steelix being banned, how you feel that will affect UU, or how they would do in UU, how you feel that will affect the tier. And, you know, feel free to leave a like as well. And I think that's about it, man. You got anything else to say?
I guess if you're wanting to inquire more about it and you want to contact me specifically, or for whatever reason, you can always find me on Smogon, Showdown, Skype, and obviously you can like just tag me on Twitter if you want to ask me a question as well.
I'll leave the link to his Twitter, guys, down below, as well as the RU Smogon thread. So if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, that's definitely there.
Also, very last thing, I know I'm adding on here, but new Viability Rankings did get released just earlier today, so very good timing for us. At least the data that we're recording this. Recording this on the 10th, by the way.
Yeah.
Just in case y'all were wondering. And Viability Rankings did go up earlier this morning. The 3 S-ranked Pokemon, Virizion, which was obviously S-ranked in the previous metagame, Venusaur and Flygon are the 2 new S-ranked Pokemon.
I can definitely see why Venusaur went up.
And Flygon obviously providing all-around support for pretty much any team. The biggest rise, I believe, in the Viability Rankings, and I may be wrong on this, so that's a bit of a disclaimer, because I don't have the old ones open right now. But the largest rise was Magneton, I believe, from B rank all the way up to A rank.
Yeah, definitely affected by this ridiculous, as we pretty much touched upon. So it will be really interesting to see how the metagame changes. And like he said, I feel it does allow us to be more creative, because Steelix was to RU not as bad as this comparison, but as what Groudon is to Ubers. So
I think more so a better comparison would be
Landers.
Comparison a lot of people made in the RU Showdown room was Landers, Therian, and OU.
Yeah, pretty much no reason not to run it.
Yeah, and the main difference is the fact that the defensive typing is so much better. Like, there are more ways to exploit Landers, Therian, and OU than there were Mega Steelix and RU.
But guys, I hope you all enjoy it, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.
Bye.